Jonathan, how old were you when you went into World War II? When you went into the Navy?
I went in when I was 19.
19. So that was about what year? 1941?
1944.
Okay. 1944. So the war was almost over with. The war was almost over. Well, we had about another year or so, didn't it?
Yeah, well, it ended in 46.
Uh-huh.
I was out there in the Pacific when it ended.
Yeah.
I was out there chasing submarines.
Were you really?
Yeah. That's the job they put me on.
So you were the radar operator?
Yeah, I was on Morse code.
You were the radio man.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what Morse code is?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
I used to be able to communicate with it, but I don't know how good I am anymore.
In other words, you didn't know how to operate then. You use earphones. Uh-huh. Well, that was my job on that ship was 4 hours on and 4 off, just regularly as the days and nights come.
Uh-huh.
For about a year and a half.
Yeah, so you were the radio man.
Yeah.
Were you radio man third class or second class?
I was a third class.
Uh-huh.
I was ready. Well, they tried to give me another rate, but I refused it.
Oh.
And then when I was fixed, just after the war ended, well, just before the war ended, they tried to give me Radium 3, but I told them no. I said, no, give me no rate.
Mm-hmm.
But
you wanted to get out and go home.
But anyway, if I'd have tucked that, I would have been next to top, which I was at top, but I just refused one rate.
Right.
When the last time that the lieutenant come to me was going to give me a raise, he said, well, you going to get a raise whether you try to refuse it or not. He said, you're going to get a raise before you get out of here. And that was after the war. I said, all right, which long after the war ended, they weren't quite as strict on what you had to do.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of stuff. The job I had to do a lot of stuff that the other boys didn't do. The boy that was doing what they put me doing, he had to decipher, decode, and then take it through decipher and decode machine, and then it come out in message.
Right.
And I was on a different frequency from what some of the rest was on. In other words, we were 3 on duty at the time, and they were on the best I can remember. They were on a 420, and I was on a 350 KC. And then, but anyway, I don't know. I get all mixed up in the morning, but that was my job, was radio operator. I was out there when the war ended, and my job was if we got a call sign that concerned our ship,
mm-hmm.
I had to break it down, decipher and decode, and then I called the communication officer. And he come to the radio shack. We had a little room out there on one side where the decoding machine was at. And he and I was the only two that could go in that well, it wasn't big enough to go in there, but he had the key to it, and he was the only one could open that little
Right.
bin in there. So we get in there, and he take a machine about so big, about so tall, and another box over here with little old gears in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you take that decode and take them numbers off them little machines and put it on a different place in that machine. You get them things in there and push a button. That thing come out a little strip about wide as your finger.
Yeah.
That's where you got your message. I'd take that and take it to the captain. Captain's quarter right next door to the radio shack.
Huh.
And I'd take it to the captain and go from that. And that's what happened when the Japs sunk to Indianapolis. They'd been out there for 4 days and nights, and I got the message of what was carrying on out there, and I broke it down, called in communication officer. We got together there, and I took the message to the captain. They sent us. It took us about 3.5 to 4 hours to get from where we were at to where they were at. We found them, and we found them in the night. It was during the night we found them, and the crew that I used to be in, they were the crew that went out there and started picking them up.
Wow.
Brought them on board.
How many did they bring aboard?
We brought. They picked up 93.
93.
93. They put one boy in my bed bunk, but I had somewhere to sleep, but it was on a ammunition box. But anyway, if they found an empty bed, they'd put a man in it. They put a boy in my bunk. I think it was from best I remember, he's from somewhere in Texas. And he'd been in the Navy about 6 months when he got sunk.
Wow.
And he was in the engine room, and or his buddy was in the engine room, and he was upside somewhere. I forgot what his job was, but he went. His buddy was in the engine room, and he went and opened the hatch to come up from the engine room to let his buddy out.
Uh-huh.
Because everything was carrying right tight, then everybody trying to save himself. But he went there and opened that hatch, and when he opened the hatch, that engine room, that oil was on fire, and it blew it right in his face.
Oh.
Caught him on fire.
So it had severe burns.
Jumped overboard.
Mm.
And when he jumped overboard, of course, it put the fire out, but his face was just a crust. Some of them boys, some of the boys that was out there before we went there to pick them up, the sharks eat a whole lot of them.
Oh.
And some of the boys, after we picked up what we could find, and there was some of them still afloat, but they were the sharks had messed them up, and they were dead. And they told us they carried what we had in there to a little old ship, a little old hospital out there on them islands. We got out there. I had orders to go back and pick up all the IEDs off of the ones that's still afloat.
Mm.
And they went back out there and was picking them up, but them boys they'd been out there so long when they get hold of his arm, but they couldn't do nothing with it.
Yeah.
They